Good evening, everyone. I'm Saintly Mick, or Mickey Saintly Mick Smith. This is a short video for my end times timeline chart that I've created. I added images to it. It had little green dots, and I decided to create some images and put them on here instead of just dots, and it looks a lot better. In any case, this is my end times timeline chart for my book called The 7th Trumpet Rapture. The address is right here. You can find it here, or you can find it on my holychat.us website. It's pretty easy to find. I've got it all over the internet. It's free, completely free. You can share it with people. All I ask, though, is if you do share my book, that you please leave it color instead of black and white, because my entire book is color coded. I spent a lot of time color coding the whole book so that it's easier to understand and read. In any case, this is a short video for my chart that I created, and let's get started. Here we go with the first one. It's a scroll here in a picture, and the scroll could be a scroll or a book. In the book of Revelation, Jesus is handed a scroll, and he's the only one that can open the scroll, and it has 7 seals, and this scroll in this picture has 7 seals. And Jesus opens the first seal. And when Jesus opens the first seal, it sets the Antichrist loose. And the Antichrist, as soon as he's set free and able to move and go forward, he confirms a covenant with many nations, including Israel. And when this happens, it's a global event, which everyone will know that he's the Antichrist when this event takes place. And this is the next event on the end times timeline for the world. It is the Antichrist being revealed. It is not the rapture. The rapture is not the next event. It's the Antichrist being revealed. So when you see the Antichrist being revealed, you will know that the tribulation has started. Now, number 2. There are 6 more seals and 6 trumpets. And the Antichrist, of course, is the first seal. And when the first seal is opened, he's the first horse of 4 horses. They're called the horsemen of the tribulation. And there are 4 of them. And it's the first 4 seals of the 7 seals. In the first 4 seals, there's the white horse, which is the Antichrist, then the red horse, and then the black horse, and then the pale horse, which usually the pale horse is represented as a green horse or a horse of sickness. But the 4 horses are horrible, horrible creatures. And then there are 6 trumpets. So you have 7 seals and 6 trumpets, which are opened and blown for 7 years. And that's a 7-year tribulation. And it's 7 years for the saints, not the anti-Christians. The anti-Christians suffer a little bit longer than the saints suffer. In any case, it's 7 years for the tribulation. That's up to number 2. Then you got number 3 here, where the 7th trumpet is blown. When the 7th trumpet is blown, that is the end of the tribulation for the saints. It is the last trump, or the last trumpet. And once it blows, then the rapture takes place. That's when the rapture happens. And that is because that's the end. The 7th trumpet signals the end of the tribulation for the saints. And it signals the end of the tribulation for that time period for the saints. And it also signifies the rapture that is about to take place for the saints. And it also signifies the 7 vials or 7 bowls that are about to be poured out on the anti-Christians, which is number 4. Number 4 is for the 7 vials of God's wrath, 45 to 75 days. Now, let me explain something real quick. A lot of people say, well, the rapture's got to happen, which is in my number 3 part of my chart. They say, well, the rapture's got to happen at number 1, before the Antichrist is revealed, because we wouldn't go through the wrath of God. Well, the tribulation is not only about the wrath of God, it's about tribulation. That's why it's called the tribulation, because there's tribulation, not just God's wrath. Now, God's wrath is poured out in 100% full. God's wrath happens during the times of the 7 vials that are poured out, or the 7 bowls that are poured out on the anti-Christians. That's when God's wrath is at his full, not during the 7 years of the tribulation. See, what I understand to be is the 7-year tribulation is tribulation, and then immediately after those 7 years, after the 7th trumpet, the 7th trumpet signifies the coming 7 vials of God's wrath, which lasts for 45 to 75 days. And I say 45 to 75 days because we do not know how long the tribulation is exactly. It could be 84 months or it could be 85 months. And the reason why I say 84, 85 months is because the Antichrist only rules 1,260 days, and the abomination of desolation lasts for 1,290 days, which is 30 days longer. So the abomination of desolation is in the third temple 30 days longer than the Antichrist rules. So we don't know how long the tribulation is exactly for the saints, and we don't know exactly how long the vials of God's wrath will be poured out, or the bowls of God's wrath will be poured out. It could be 45 days or 75 days. There's a 30-day gap there between how long the saints suffer and how long the anti-Christians suffer the 7 vials of God's wrath. 3 and 4, there's a 30-day gap in there somewhere. Someone's going to suffer 30 days more than the other. We do not know. So that's why we don't know when the rapture's going to happen, because we don't know when the end of the 7 years is or how long the 7 vials of God's wrath are. There's a question mark there. So we don't know, and that's why we don't know when the rapture's going to happen. It's not because it's a secret thing that we don't know. It's not that. The reason why we don't know is because we don't know how long the 7-year tribulation is, whether it's 84 months or 85 months, and we don't know how long the 7 vials of God's wrath is. It could be 45 days or 75 days. We just don't know. Those are the two things we don't know. That's why we don't know when the rapture's going to happen. That's the reason right there. Okay, now let's go to number 5. Christ's second coming and the Antichrist are destroyed in a 1,000-year reign. Now, there's a lot going on number 5. So after the 7 vials of God's wrath are finished, okay, which is after the rapture, because God's wrath happens after the rapture, which is what I agree with, but the rapture doesn't happen until after the 7 years, and but the rapture happens before the 7 vials of God's wrath. So the fullness of God's wrath does happen after the rapture, but it doesn't happen until after the 7 years. So God, Jesus Christ, God, who is God, comes back after the 7 vials of God's wrath have been poured out. Then Jesus Christ returns. which is 45 to 75 days after the rapture. The rapture and Jesus Christ's second coming does not happen on the same day. It is not the same day as many teach. It is not the same day. There's a 45 to 75 day separation between the rapture and Christ's second coming. Okay? And when Jesus Christ returns at his second coming, he is going to destroy all the Antichrist and all anti-Christian things. And then after Jesus Christ destroys everything that is anti-Christian, and he'll do this at the Battle of Armageddon, okay? The Battle of Armageddon is at Jesus Christ's second coming. And when Jesus Christ comes back, he's not going to come back quietly. He's going to come back as a warrior and will destroy all the anti-Christians at the Battle of Armageddon. And once Jesus Christ destroys all the anti-Christians and all anti-Christian things, he is going to rule on this earth for 1,000 years. And there'll be 1,000 years of peace where he rules with a rod of iron, with his saints and with his angels on this earth. Not in heaven, but on this earth for 1,000 years. And then, after those 1,000 years, Satan will be loosed out of his prison, where he'll be held for 1,000 years in a prison. And then when that 1,000 years is up, Jesus will let Satan loose. And then anyone who has not worshiped Jesus and loved Jesus or wanted to serve Jesus, they will be gathered by Satan after 1,000 years. And Satan and all those people will try to fight Jesus one more time. And Jesus will defeat Satan and will defeat those people. And Jesus will destroy them and will send Satan to the lake of fire. And will destroy all those people one last time. It'll be the last battle. Then there'll be a great white throne judgment on Judgment Day. This is number 6. And at the great white throne, Jesus will judge all the people that were not resurrected at the rapture in number 3. On number 6, there'll be the great white throne. Anyone that was not resurrected or had part in the rapture, all the people that have not had part, that died or not risen from the dead, all of them will be judged at the great white throne judgment on Judgment Day. Okay? And then anyone that was not found written in the Lamb's Book of Life in number 7 will go to lake of fire, and anyone that is in the Lamb's Book of Life will spend eternity with Jesus. There's only 2 ways that you get a choice. It's your choice, either eternal life with Jesus Christ or eternal death in the lake of fire. There's 2 ways there. And I hope to God, I hope to Jesus that you choose Jesus today, because let me tell you, Jesus is the way. Now, I have on my websites how to become born again. You just ask Jesus to make him your Lord and your Savior, and you trust in him to save you, and you ask him to save you, and you ask him to deliver you from your sin, and you ask him to give you a repentant heart, and you ask Jesus to show you how to live a righteous and holy, true life. And Jesus will show you how. He can get all those things out of your life that you have that are not right. Jesus can do it. He's done it to me. He's done it to countless others. Jesus can change your life and make your life so beautiful and so wonderful. He can do it for you. He can do it. He's done it to me. If he can do it to me, he can do it to you. He can do it for anyone. It's wonderful and beautiful. Jesus is wonderful. Just read my documents on how to become born again, and Jesus will make you born again. You just got to ask him for it, and he'll give it to you. He'll teach you how to walk holy and right and true. Jesus will do it. He wants that. That's all he asks. Jesus is not boring. Let me tell you, your life is wonderful in Jesus. And if you feel like your life is empty and you feel like there's no purpose in your life, just come to Jesus and he'll fill your life with joy and happiness and purpose and It's always something new and wonderful. Well, in any case, this is my chart, and I hope you enjoy it. I added pictures to it to make it a little more interesting, and I love all of you, and God bless you. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.